Let's cross live now to Kilic Bugra Kanat, the research director of the Seta Foundation in Washington, D.C. Kilic, thanks so much for joining us. First off, is it fair for the U.S. Defense Department to criticize Turkey for not doing enough to prevent foreign fighters from crossing its borders?
I don't think it is fair when you look at the number of deportees from the borders and the precautions that Turkey took so far. Turkey is doing a fair share of fighting against ISIS, and it's increasing its efforts to fight against this organization for the last 6-7 months. However, there are significant difficulties to fight against ISIS, and I think the defense establishment in the US and around the world already discovered that this organization is not a traditional mainstream terrorist organization, and it is very difficult to track them down. It's very difficult to find who's going to join ISIS. The radicalization of ISIS militants took place usually faster than any other organization. And other than a soft digital footprint, it is impossible to find who can be the possible recruiter of these organizations. And another difficult challenge that not only Turkey, but each and every country around the region, around Syria, is facing right now is the real problem about ISIS has been the source countries. And the major problem that Turkey is facing since the beginning of the fight against ISIS is lack of intelligence support from the countries whose citizens are joining these organizations. And in the absence of the support from the source countries, or to find a way to stop these ISIS members in their source countries, it would be really hard for Turkey to control all of these long borders.
Okay.
And as Secretary Carter stated, it is 911 kilometers borders. It has been porous borders. There are no geographical barriers, especially eastern part of that border. So it is really hard for one single country to control all of the border and to stop all of the foreign fighters at once.
Okay, Kilic, we just want to take a look at another story quickly, and I'd like to have you comment on that as well. As you may have heard, satellite pictures have emerged that appear to show the United States expanding a formerly disused airstrip in northeast Syria. Now, the runway in Rumelan, controlled by Kurdish YPG forces, has doubled in length and can now accommodate larger planes. Now, the images could indicate that the U.S. is stepping up its support for the YPG. Stratfor, which is a global intelligence and advisory firm, released the images, saying that rumors of an American presence in the area have been circulating since early January. Now, Kilic, let me turn back to you and ask what you make now of the distinct possibility that the U.S. is increasing its support for Kurdish fighters in Syria, and how might that affect U.S.-Turkish relations?
First, let me say that one of the structural problems in the U.S.-Turkey relation for the last couple of years has been the lack of transparency for the observers to understand and make sense of what's going on between two countries. But besides that, from what we know so far, Turkey has very strict, very strong reservations about the U.S. support to PYD in the region. And it is not only about PYD's position within Syria, but it has something to do with the PYD's relationship with PKK. I know that the U.S. authorities are trying to distinguish these two organizations and declare PKK a terrorist organization, but PYD as a ground force against ISIS in the fight against ISIS. However, it is very hard to control the passage of these weapons, not only weapons, but the militants from one side to the other, and destabilize Turkey. And Turkey has put this as a red line. Turkey, I think, expressed its concerns to U.S. authorities so far, and each and every time U.S. authorities express that they understand these concerns and convey these concerns to PYD members, but this will not help, I think, in the short term, the relation between two countries. And if there is no agreement about that, I think this can be a major spoiler of a joint strategy in Syria for two countries.
Okay, Kilic Bugra Kanat, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us there live from Washington, D.C.